Hey there, welcome back to Robyn Scherer Photography. Today I want to talk about poses you can use with your seniors to elicit genuine responses. So I'm going to go over a few that I've chosen here as some highlights and we'll talk about each one. So let's dig into it. So starting off with this first one here. So here's the before, the sook, here's the after, and I would normally get rid of these people, but let's go ahead and do that. And if you want to see generative AI work, I have another video on that. But as you can see, I just took out the people and it works pretty quickly. It's not as fast as Photoshop, I will admit, but the fact that we have that available in Lightroom means that there's less things you have to pull your image into Photoshop for. So you can see it did an amazing job. So I'm going to do the backslash, which is before and after. Amazing. So let's start with how I ended up with this beautiful natural smile on this young man. So what I will normally do with my high school and college male seniors is I'll have them start quite a ways back. And this one you can see his hand is in his pocket, always the thumb out, so it doesn't look like a missing hand. And I just had him walk towards me. And as he's walking towards me, I will ask him to repeat things that I'm saying. And one of my key phrases is, "Hey girl, hey." And so as he repeats that, he starts to feel a little silly, which then makes him laugh, which then we get this beautiful, genuine, natural smile. I also do that with my young ladies, but that usually will get a pretty funny response. Or I'll ask them to, for example, tell me what they had for breakfast in French or in Spanish. And a lot of the kids don't know how to say what they had for breakfast. So again, it'll make them laugh. Or they do know and they'll say it and then we both laugh because we surprised both of ourselves. So anyways, that is one posing cue I use for my young men. So going to the next image, on this particular image, it is a little bit more static because I do have him squat down and I very specifically tell him how to place his hands. And I'll either have him kind of rub his hands together like he's thinking or clasp his hands. This is a very natural gesture he did on his own. And you can see here I added depth and layering to the image. So I very specifically got behind this bush knowing that I would get foreground, him in the middle, background. And so I'll show you sook straight out of camera. So there wasn't a lot to do with this particular image. I did it all in camera. So when I have them squatting down this way, I will ask them to repeat things to me that make them laugh. I will ask them to, what they have for lunch, say it in French or Spanish or Russian or German or any language they might speak other than English, and it just always makes us laugh. So that's another posing cue for the young men. And this one is very specifically for me to get a very beautiful, natural lit portrait. A lot of the kids, especially if they're college seniors, are going to be heading off to college or their next chapter or working for their parents. Either way, they normally need a beautiful headshot to use in LinkedIn or for any kind of resume. So this is a great way to incorporate that into your senior shoot. I will also do it for high school seniors, again, for whatever their next chapter will be. So this is sook straight out of camera. Let's do a little bit of cleanup here. If you unclick the generative AI, it's a more basic cleanup and it's faster. And so for simple things like that, you can see it did a great job. It's very quick. And at this point, I will zoom in. I'll just get rid of a few of the blemishes. It's very easy and quick to use. And if you click it, the generative AI, it will, I'm going to cancel that because I'm going to start over here. When you click that, again, I have a video on this as well, but when you click it and you get the red masking, it is a more organic fill. It looks a lot better usually, and so I do like that one better for specific things. I will zoom back out here and we'll just do a quick cleanup. I also have a video on how to use and create brushes. This is a skin brush I already have, so I will go ahead and just tidy up his skin just a little bit. And I also have a brush for eyes called Sharp Eyes, and I'll just pop his eyes, make them seem a little bit brighter, and I might bump it up just a hair. So here we are, Sook and after. Again, I will check the grids. So with the rule of thumb grid for composing, I do like this. A lot of the times I will put the crosshair right on the eye, and that draws the viewer's attention right where you want it to be, which is his face. Again, beautiful portrait, handsome young man. So with the natural portrait, I will have him cross his arms. I'll have him go straight into the camera, and then like this, I will have him angle, turn his head, and give it a little bit more professional twist. Those are two ways to do a headshot for a young man. So we'll move on to the next image, and I'll check my cropping here. I move it down a bit. I have a cropping video that talks about why we're cropping mid-thigh and not right at the waist. There's very specific reasons for that. So he's cropped properly. Let's zoom in. Let's do a little tiny cleanup here. Beautiful, beautiful. And then I'll do a quick swipe with the skin brush. Again, I have videos on how to create your brushes and for what reasons. So this is my skin brush. And here I will do the eye pop just to brighten up his eyes just a bit. And you can see that. I'll bring it up just a bit. And so this is a pretty good cleaned up portrait before, after, gives it a little bit of a pop. Now, notice with this portrait here, I did include a foreground once again. So we have the foreground and the middle and the background. So I really like that for adding depth and dimension to your portraits. So moving on to the next one. Again, a young man. This was a college senior. So here, I very purposely framed him in this arch. So let's do Sook. And not a lot needed to be done to this particular image. And so again, you're framing him. So if you can frame him with something natural in the background, awesome. It just draws attention to him. Again, I very specifically posed him under this arch between these two buildings. So again, Sook. It looks like I edited this in Photoshop because I had to take people out of here, and I just cloned a bush here. So that's why it's not getting Sook. It's not in here. So, but I did frame him between the buildings in the arch. So again, if you can use a natural structure to frame, that's awesome. Again, I believe this is Sook. Not a lot needed to be done here. Again, I framed him in the arch. We're getting architecture of a very, very popular place on campus for him. So this was important that he was placed in these areas for him because he wanted to remember the campus. So again, using natural backgrounds to frame your subject is fantastic. So here, now this is a young lady. I purposely wanted to capture this starburst. So I had her look down her shoulder, kind of pensive and thinking. And when you're doing this, you're going to have to go up to a high f-stop. You can see I was at 7.1. And you would normally have your camera here, and then you would move yourself ever so slightly to the right and wait for that starburst to come in. So that's trial and error, and it takes a few shots to get that. Here's Sook. So not a lot done was that. Not a lot was done with the after image. However, you can see it just creates kind of a dramatic shot because there wasn't a lot going on in the background, so it just adds some interest. This one, I very purposely a static pose. So we were focusing on her graduation and her cap and gown. So we want to showcase the cords and the stole and her fraternity, sorority, business fraternity here. I'm sorry, that was Honor Society. And the tricky thing with this young lady was she had a brace on her leg. So we were trying to hide that and still get some fantastic shots. And we did a great job. She was wonderful about it. So here's a portrait. So when I do this particular portrait, I will very specifically tell her, take a deep breath and blow out some air, take another deep breath, and then I'll just tell her to very gently give me a gentle smile, or I'll have her very lightly say hi, just a very gentle hi, and then let her close her lips. And then we get a very beautiful, natural, small smile, not too gregarious, and you just wanted more of a quiet moment, so that is that particular shot. This one, very specifically, again, we didn't have a lot going on in the background at this particular area of the location. So with her knee, we had her sit. I had her just kind of tuck her hair and look down. This right here, I'm actually holding a flower in front of my lens because I wanted to create some depth and interest. So we have foreground, middle, background. Again, you're just trying to create interest in your poses so they're not so static all the time. This girl was super gregarious. This was with my 70 to 200 lens because I wanted a lot of blur. I wanted to really focus on her, draw her out of the scene. I stood quite far away and had the bushes as the foreground, center, background, had her just kind of play with her hair and look off into the distance. So again, this is just trying to create interest, trying to keep the viewer in the frame of what is she looking at, what is she thinking about. I really like how this one turned out. So this one, again, we're adding interest. We're having kind of a leading line to her, some foreground. I have her just walking, and I have her looking to the side, looking at me, looking to the side, looking at me. Again, we're just trying to create some visual interest and keep them smiling in a genuine emotion coming out of their expressions. And this one was just super cute. I had her just kind of skip away from me, and when I called her name, I have her look back and kick her boot. So we did that a number of times. I saw the sun coming in. Again, this was for some flirty images with some sun in the background to create some visual interest. And so again, have your senior walk away, call their name, have them flip around and flip their hair so you get some movement. You just get some laughter because it's fun to do. It's just a great posing cue. Here, again, had her walk away, had her turn towards me. She was a dancer. You can tell by her posing. Very, standing very tall, great posture, darling girl. Again, you're just trying to create some movement. So we got her hair moving a little bit, have her with a big smile. I called her name. People like to be called by their name. And again, it just creates a very joyous image. This young man, similar to the last one, I had him squat, had the flowers as the foreground, him in the middle, background, creating visual interest on this particular location where there wasn't a ton, and then just was chatting with him about his day and having him repeat phrases like, hey girl, hey. And again, it seems silly, but it does make them smile in a very genuine way. And two more, again, adding visual interest. I kind of framed her with these trees, and I had her look down at her ring, and then I called her name and she looked back at me, and I told her I wanted it to be a quiet moment. So that's what we were aiming for. I love how it turned out. It looks like she was busy. I called her name and I caught her off guard, and I just love the moment. This we were aiming for just a beautiful, simple portrait. Again, for that headshot that they're going to need moving into their next chapter. And again, I had her just take some deep breaths, had her just do a simple hi and a very gentle smile for a quiet moment. And that is how we achieved this particular image. So those are a few posing cues I use. There's a ton more. But I hope this gives you a flavor, and I hope it gives you a platform to jump off of for posing your seniors, getting genuine reactions. Watch the other channels for the cropping, the brushes, skin tone, color, capturing creamy skin tones. Hit subscribe, check out the other videos. I would love to see you in the channel. Message me if you have any questions. Would love to communicate and connect. All right, you guys have a great day. Thanks for being here.